All right. Hello, ladies. Hello. Happy Monday. I am so excited and super honored, right, for David to be here today. He is a coach. Can you say hi to the ladies, Coach
Hello,
David?
ladies. How's everybody doing?
Yes, I'm so excited because he is going to be talking about family restoration. Family restoration. We have been through so much in the last 3 years, and a lot of families have been torn apart. But David saw a need, and he saw a need for families to be put back together. So, we're going to start with asking David a few questions about himself. But first, I want to say thank you for being on the live. David and I met through a coaching program with Coach Terrell Jones. Shout out to Coach T, right? Shout out to Coach T for connecting us. And the
Right.
importance of building relationships and networking is so important to complete our mission. Ladies, we cannot do it on our own. We need our men to help us and to support us along our journeys. We need them. So I want to say thank you so much, David, for coming on today and speaking with the ladies. So can you tell us about yourself?
Yes. First of all, thank you so much for the opportunity. I don't take anything lightly. I think it's important, like you said, to build relationships with people that are doing amazing things like she is doing. And I believe that you ladies are amazing mothers. So I'm here just to give some encouragement. So, with that being said, my name is David M. Pinkston, but I go by the name of DMP Speaks. I am a empowerment speaker. I don't really call myself a motivator. I'm an empowerment speaker, but I'm also a board certified Christian counselor, life coach. Kind of throw that out there, right? But I am a family restoration specialist. So a lot of people ask me, what in the world does that mean? Well, that means we're restoring family dynamic. We are restoring the family dynamic because I don't want to go too far, but it really means to rebuild and to grow your family, not in just quantity, but quality. I'll say it again, not just in quantity, and that's great, but in quality, conversation, communication. So I felt like there was a need that wasn't there. I started out doing self esteem and confidence, and I still do that with some clients, just a few clients, but I felt like I needed to do a pivot because I see that there was a need for families to be restored. Because again, and I don't want to be preachy, but the enemy doesn't want our families to thrive.
Ooh.
He doesn't want us to thrive. He wants the fathers, the mothers to be in disarray in marriages, but he doesn't want the children to thrive. He wants them to not be educated, to have unwanted pregnancies. I can go on and on and on. So I'm gonna cut myself off because I talk a lot. But I love these opportunities, not to for me to shine, but God's presence to shine on what we're doing so that we can help families change their lives and that they can be better than they were before. So that's why I felt like my program is essential and it's needed in this day and time.
Yes, I love that, right? So, one of the key things that you said is it's important to restore families, right? And you mentioned God and spirituality, right? So, how important and what role does spirituality play in rebuilding the family structure?
Well, it should be, and it might not be in every family, but I believe in mine, it's the foundation. Um, I am, I'm a strong individual. That's how I was raised with my father. God bless the dead. Um, but it's the foundation. You got to have, and this is how I feel. You got to have a spiritual connection. It's great, and I'm not picking on anybody. So just hearing me from my heart. It's wonderful to attend church. I think it's a great thing. But after the doors are closed, after the mics are off and the music is off, what kind of relationship did you have with God? And when it comes to your family, that has to be your foundational piece because that is one of the most important things to build your family. You can have the money and prestige, and you can go all these wonderful trips, right? But if you don't have that connection to the source to help your family grow, how can your family really grow the way it's supposed to? None of us have the full answer to life, right? I don't care how many degrees you have, credentials that you have. Those credentials are not more than what God can give you in your family. So I feel that that spirituality piece, that if you call him higher power, if you call him Jehovah, that's just who he is. So I feel like having that foundation really has helped me, even when I was a young boy in my parents' house, to being able to be a husband and a father. You need that foundation. You definitely need that to help your family grow.
So how do you help support like teenagers, right? Teenagers who you want to, instill in them God and the love of God and spirituality, but they're like, no, we're not we're not trying to hear that. Like, how do you teach it?
It's
Right?
tough. It's not easy. I have my son, probably listening now, 14. He'll be 15 in July. He grew up in church, but as he got older, he started having some questions, started having some doubts. Now, the old school way was like, well, you going to church, you going to do this and you going to do that, you going to act like you say. Well, how good is that? How effective is that really? I believe in being an example, because you can tell your child so much about God and church, right? But and the teachings of God. But is your life matching up with what you're saying? I try to live how I treat his mother, how I treat his grandmother, how I treat my mom, how I treat any other woman, or how I treat other people. It goes a long ways, because you can have lip service all day, but you also have to be able to live the life too in front of them. And what I also do is I might send them a text, or I might send some young man a text that has a scripture that has something to do with something that he likes, maybe football. Like, how are you going to get all of these accolades and whatever? I try to mix the word with something that's interesting to them, because that's what's going to take. Because it's not about clothes, it's not about the suits and having an eight-piece suit. It's about your heart. So I always talk about the heart issues. What are you dealing with? I'll have that conversation with him, or the young men that I work with during the day. I'll have that conversation. And I know there's a thin line when you're a professional, you're working with students, but there are times that some of my youth, they will ask me about God. So that's an opportunity, because they say something to me about it. Excuse me, does God love me? I messed up. I did this and I did that. Does he love me? So that's an opportune time for me to say yes. Well, how does he? And I'll go into that. Just a real brief stuff, but they're so hungry. They're so hungry, and then if you look at some of these young men that I work with, you wouldn't think that they'd be hungry for it, but they're trying to find themselves, and they're trying to find it in. I'm sorry to say this, but you're trying to find themselves in women and clothes and stuff like that. But a lot of these young men are hungry, so they have to be filled with the right thing, because they've been filled with the wrong thing for so long. So you got to fill them. Even with my son, I have to have those conversations about God, and I have to live the life that's going to show him, no matter what you do in this life, you can't do it without God.
Yeah. Amen. Amen to that. So how do moms, right? Single moms who are raising sons, and like you're saying, like, the teen boys, they're trying to find themselves, right? They're trying to find themselves in women. Some even try to find themselves in drugs. Some try to find themselves, through sports, through rap music. They're trying to find themselves, right? So how do you help single moms in your program with raising sons, right? In this day and age, when it's just so much out there on social media and everything else, right?
Mm-hmm. Good question. I really like that question, because I couldn't imagine, I'm not a woman, but I think about some of the things that my wife has talked to me about, or I have some sisters that have sons that I help mentor. It's not easy. Let me just put that out there as a disclaimer. It is not easy. So I want to salute every mother that is watching right now, because I don't think you've heard this enough. You're doing a great job. And I'm not even saying this to just say it because I'm on here. You're doing a great job, because some people don't even understand that you are taking on mom role, and I don't want to offend anybody, but you're taking on many roles. You're not just taking on the father role if the father's not there. You're taking on the mom role because you're there, but you're the counselor, you're the provider, you're the priest. I'm serious, because you have to pray over your child. You're the psychiatrist, you're the therapist, you're the doctor. When they can't go to the doctor, you're there. So raising children, especially boys, can be tough. But one thing in my program, and I do this with all families, doesn't matter if it's several or just two, I really want to tell that young man, mom is doing the best that she can. And I would explain to him some of the things that moms do that they might not understand, they might not even see, because some young men don't really understand the sacrifice that a lot of mothers make. Do you know and you know this, there are a lot of mothers that probably don't eat so their son can eat, or they have to take off work because they're trying to go to their game, or they're trying to be the best everything that they can be to their son. So in my program, I would want to tell that young man, cut mom a little bit of slack. Do you understand why mom is so tough on you? That she don't let you go this place or that place. She doesn't let you hang out with this person or that person, because she's not trying to stop your life. She's trying to prolong it. I'll say it again. Mom is not trying to stop your life. She's trying to prolong it. And that's a lot of things that's one of the biggest things that I say to a lot of young men that I work with. Oh, my mom, she always hard on me. She say this and that, and I can't take it. I can't talk to her. And I said, well, let me ask you. Well, when you are talking to her, what's your tone? Are you coming up to her with respect, or you trying to be big bad? And you trying to be big bad to the wrong person. You being big bad to the person that gives you clothes and food and provides. But here's the flip side. So mothers, just stay with me for a second. But what I would tell the mother is, imagine what your son had to go through day in and day out, not because of what you're not doing. Maybe sometimes they want some of your time. I know that's hard to hear, and I mean that from a good place. I'm not saying it because we probably have some mothers that work many hours, right? But sometimes sons, if I could say this, when you don't have the father at times in that son's life, it can make things tough. Yeah. Right? Make things very tough. If I can just be honest, please don't don't take me out, but it can be tough. Because I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how I would have turned out if my father wasn't there. But I do know a lot of great men. Yeah. I love and adore. Their father was not there, but mom was. Mom was there. Mom was consistent. Mom did everything. So I would tell any mother out there, not only keep doing what you're doing, do your best to have open conversations. It's called like a restorative circle between you both. It's like you're listening to what they're saying, you're allowing them to have a voice and have a dialogue. That's your baby boy. Have the dialogue. And I see that doesn't happen a lot of times, but it does. Some people just need a refresher. Some of you mothers out there just need a refresher. You're doing great. Your son loves you. If at the end of the day he loves you, he ain't gonna probably tell you that. He ain't probably gonna always give you a hug. But 9 times out of 10, those boys love you, but just having that son and mother and son time. I don't
Yeah.
want to get too far myself, but that mother and son time is so precious because I was just telling Coach before we started, before I met my wife, my wonderful wife, shout out to my wife, Chantel, she was always your mom. Okay.
Mm.
So when I was dating her, I saw her interaction with our son, and it was
Yeah.
incredible to me. And I'm not gonna lie, I'll just keep it real. When I paid attention to and observed her interaction with our son when we were dating, I thought it
Yeah.
was so attractive. I said, "Wow, she is so in tune with her son, sitting down reading with." And I'm gonna make this disclaimer very 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 clear. My wife was working; she was going to school full time, and she did in church all that, right? But she made time for him as much as she could. Now she couldn't do the quantity; she couldn't do the 2 or 3, 4 hours, but
Mm-hmm.
that half an hour or that hour, she made it count. And I thought that was so attractive to me. I'm like, wow, this woman is amazing. And she makes time for her son. So to go back to your original question to answer it, my program, I believe in the communication of the family, even when it's mom and son.
Yeah.
It's so important to have that because I'm a mama's boy. I love my father to life, but I'm a mama's boy.
Yeah.
So anytime that I get to have a conversation, even now, I'm grown, have my own family. But when I get to talk to my mom about things, I'm never too old to listen because the lady got wisdom. So I wouldn't be able to be sitting in the seat now if I didn't listen to her. So your boys got to start listening. So I would tell, listen to mom. Again, she's not trying to stop your life. She's trying to prolong it. She wants you to do better than her. I'll leave that alone. I'll leave that alone.
Ooh, that was some great advice, right? And one of the things I was thinking about when you were saying, like, having that open communication, that quality time, that intentional time just to be present with your son and your child, right? Is
Mhm.
when they grow up to be adults and they have wives, they already know what they're going to do as far as having that quality time to be present and to listen and engage with their spouses. So that communication at a younger age, it transitions to them becoming adults. So you're teaching them a skill set, right?
Mhm.
So one of the things that we talk about, that we wanted to talk about tonight was the importance of having a two-family household, if possible, right? So why is that so important?
Okay. Going back to my wonderful parents, just to give you an example of context. Um, they both worked. Um, took us, me and my sister, God bless her, I just lost her last year. Wonderful woman. They just did so much for us. I can't, and I'm not even talking about financial. I'm talking about just mentally, emotionally supportive, understanding. They were tough, but they weren't nasty. They were loving. My father was loving. My mother is still loving. So, if possible, when you have two parents in the home, it gives structure. Um, and I know this is not seen a lot in our community, but it's there. I'm an example. I have great, like I said, I got great guys that have wonderful wives and wonderful children. So there's a lot of examples. We don't see them enough, but there are a lot of examples of great mothers and fathers in the home. So to answer your question, it brings that stability in the home. It brings that structure and that foundation that we already talked about. But it also gives that child, and I haven't heard anybody say this, when you get a child that can go to the father about, it could be a boy, it could be a girl, they're able to grab certain things from the mom, right? So they have certain things from the mom, but they're also able to go and grab some things from the father, whether they're a girl or a boy, so they become well rounded. That's just my opinion. It's just my opinion. But I thrived because I was able to know how to treat my mother because of how our interaction and love for each other grew. So when I met my wife, I already knew how to treat my mom because I have a mom, I have a sister, I have a niece. So I had three women on my in my life for a while, and then I added a fourth, my wife, and then I added a fifth. I added my mother-in-law. So I have all these women in my life, and I know how to treat them. But also, my father taught me how to be a gentleman and
Oh.
not be a player. He
Mhm.
taught me how to do the bills because my mom was good with bills. I mean, good with money, but my father was better. So there was aspects of finances that I was taught by him, but I also knew how to run the house. So, like for me, now you might say, well, DMP Speaks, he's a wonderful coach, he's a wonderful person. He probably don't cook. That's a lie. Or he probably don't wash dishes. That's a lie. Oh, he probably don't fold clothes. That's a lie. He don't know how to sweep and keep a house together. That's a lie. Because I got taught that by my mom. So I feel like I'm well rounded. I feel like children can thrive because it's just what I see. I can only go by what I see in my experience. I don't know how I would have turned out if I didn't have my mother
Yeah.
or my father. I don't know how I would have turned out because I would have felt like there was a void. But when they're both parents, and let me say this too, if I can,
Yeah.
I'm probably going to get in trouble, so you won't have to say me, but I'm saying this with love.
Yeah.
Even if the father, I don't know if I should say this or not, but I'm going to say
Say
it.
it. Say it.
Even if,
Say it. Say it. We
even,
need to hear it, the truth. We need to
okay,
hear whatever you have to say, you know?
even if the father is not in the home,
Mm.
I said this to a friend of mine because he has a situation going on.
Mm.
I said to him, even though you're not in the home and you live in another town not that far, I said, I know you work and you have another family, but I said that child, those children belong to you and her. Even though you might not be with her, those kids need to see you. And if they can't physically see you, you got FaceTime, you got text messages, you got calls. I said, don't you dare. And I told him to his face, I said, don't you dare run out on your kids because you have a little situation going on with your I don't like to do the baby mom stuff, that your children's mother, because that's who she is. I said, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't rob them of that opportunity. Even if you don't
Mm.
even if you don't live in that household, don't rob them. Don't rob them because they have nothing to do with you and your, that situation with your child's mother. So this is a few years ago. He took my advice. I didn't think was going to do it, was going to do it or not, and he started to have a better communication with her.
Mm.
Better communication. So on the weekend, he made some kind of pact with her so that he would be able to see them on the weekend, and it just kept going. It was a consistent thing. So they were with Monday through or Sunday through Friday. I'm sorry, not Sunday through Monday through Friday, but the weekend saw their dad. But they didn't miss anything. These kids didn't miss nothing. It's hard. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying I have the secret to relationship. That's I'm not saying that. But if we want to be honest and real, even if you don't live in the home, that goes for mothers too, and the child with the father. Do your best to have a relationship that is healthy enough so that child don't miss out on both of you.
Yeah.
Because it's so important. It's so important because I see that a lot of children suffer. I don't want to go too much into it, but they suffer because they don't see dad enough or they don't see mom enough, and there's a lack.
Yeah.
If I could just say it, there's a lack, and it's sad, But I'll leave it there. I'll leave it there because I know that's a heavy topic. So I don't want to be insensitive. So
Yeah, it's okay. One of the things that I also wanted to talk about is we are right now, we're in a mental health crisis, right? And it's been a lot of divorces. It's been a lot of people losing their homes, losing their jobs, trying to find jobs, trying to find their way in this new life, in this new normal, right? The kids have been desocialized because they've been homeschooled, not around children, other students, right? And not able to socialize. So they're trying to reintegrate them back into the school system. And it's a lot of problems I've been seeing that's been happening, right? So a lot of families at home, like they're angry, they're frustrated. So how do we rebuild the family structure from the inside out after this entire pandemic?
well, let's say this, and this is a true thing. The pandemic really uncovered and unveiled a lot of stuff that's been going on in people's houses for years.
Oh,
It uncovered a lot. It uncovered some marriage situations. That's why you see the divorce rate have shot up through the roof. You see a lot of arguments that happen, like you said, yelling, kids not being able to socialize, especially if you are an extrovert and you're like, man, I got to be in the house. So the tensions are going to rise, especially because the lack of communication hasn't really been there even before the pandemic. And now you can't go nowhere and you're in the house 24/7 with this person or with your children. It was hectic. You don't know how many conversations I don't have with friends. I'm about to bust my son in the head because he's not listening. And I
mm,
said, well, you got to understand what kind of kid that you have. He's an introvert, or you might have an introverted child that might not say certain things, but then you put that cherry on the top and they explode.
yeah.
This is what happens, and I'm getting somewhere. The pandemic really unveiled a lot of issues that people were having, but they weren't working on them. One
Mm,
of the things that I feel that, because I want to make sure I answer your question, one of the things that I feel like families have or had to do and have to do now, going back to that piece of communication, like you got to turn the TV off, you got to turn the phones off, and you got to talk. You got to start somewhere, like asking, um, how do you, how do you view me as your parent? Because
yeah.
to be honest, some parents don't even know that their child don't even like them.
Oh,
Yeah, there's no way the way to sugarcoat. Some parents don't even know that their child don't like them. And I never said they didn't love.
yeah.
They love them, just don't like them, and that's the issue. That's a huge issue because you want your child not to only to love you and respect you, of course, but you want them to like you, be around. And that was the unveiling. But I feel like a lot of families, again, they just need to talk. They need to get an understanding of one another because all of these assumptions that I've heard and you've heard and or seen, you gotta
Mhm.
remove a lot of these assumptions that you have about your children. And also, these teens got to take a lot of the assumptions that they have about their parent. And you guys got to talk. Why
Yeah.
am I so much on the communication piece? Because communication is the gateway to purpose. And you got to have a purpose for your family. You just can't have a purpose for yourself. You have to have a mission statement for your family. Where are
Yeah.
you guys going? And if you're not talking, if you're just working, and I know it was tough. You being in the house, you're doing all this, but like when's the last time you ate together?
Mm,
There's families that they were in the house all day. They never ate together. They never broke bread together.
yeah.
Social media, and I understood you had to do, there's a time and place for all those things, right? So you have to give the tablets out. You gotta do that so you can get your work done. But like after that, where is that quality time? Going back to
Mm,
that quality time and not just the quantity, the quality time. we gotta talk. We don't talk enough. We're on this, and I'm guilty of it. I was guilty of it. We on this a lot, and we could communicate in the household with this when we should be doing this and saying, "How are you, honey? How's things going? Oh, it's all right. No, tell me. I'm gonna put the phone down. I'm actually gonna turn it over. Talk to me." That's what I had to do with my son. How can I say this?
Mm-hmm.
One thing my son said to me, and it hurt me so bad. I wasn't always present like I should have been, and I'm talking about myself. Okay,
Yeah.
like I wanted to be. This is a few years ago. I asked him. I said, "Well, do you believe that I love you?" He said, "I believe you love me. I don't think you really like me." That hurt me so bad. And I'm a man's man. I'm 6'1", should have played in the NFL, right? But that thing hurt me to my core when he said it. And I said, man, that sucks, that to hear your child say that about you. So what I had to do, I had to change myself. You know, you're doing your business, you're doing your work, you're doing all that. But I'm like, I gotta spend some more time because your kids are getting older. My son is getting older. In a few more years, he'll be out of high school. Your kids are getting older. You don't want to lose those memories. Like my wife always talks about memories. I'm like, we can make those memories. No. You need them.
Yeah.
You have to be able to build on that. And being in the household, going back to what I do, what I believe in. Are you talking? Are you mixing worlds? What does that mean? Doing things, it's more than just going in your child's room and sitting on the couch or sitting on their bed and watch TV with them. That's great. I think that's a good start. But have you ever thought about doing something they want to do?
Right.
That you really don't want to do. But because they want to do it, you'll do it. Or let me flip the script on this. What about a child doing something that the parent wants to do with them? Even though the child don't want to do it really, but like, I really want you to come with me. You don't like fishing, but I like fishing. I want to show you something. You're mixing the worlds because the child has their own world. They have their own friends, but the parent also has too. But you got to be able to bring and mesh those worlds together so that you can have a strong bond. And I feel like the pandemic is starting to get there with some families, but some families just need to interlock. I see a lot of this. All you got to do is put them together.
Yeah.
It's a process, but you got to be able to do it. You got to be able to make that sacrifice.
And I think one of the biggest things, Coach, is asking for help, right? Asking for help from coaches and mentors and, like you said, school counselors, right? So can you tell us before, because we're almost at our time, there's two things I want to ask you before we get off of here, right? The first thing I want to ask you is, can you tell us more about your coaching program and what you have to offer to families?
Sure. So it's called I'm a family restoration specialist, like I already stated, but it's called the Family Reconnection Program. So it's like a 12-week program, 90 days. I have different levels of it. Well, not different levels, but I have different activities. I have homework. I have restorative circle, like I stated. We start and we find out what is the root issue of what you're dealing with in your family. It's more than just that we're yelling and screaming. Why? What are the root issues? Let's get to the root issue so we can figure out where the source of the problems are, and we can find out how we can restore the family back together. That is the biggest thing that I want to do. That's my biggest result. Because yes, you have a result, you want your family together, but what do you want your family to look like? What do you want your family to become? That's what people need. That's what families need. You have a goal, or if you didn't have a goal, you should have a goal, but let me help you find that goal for your family. And that's what we do. We store in the family. And I always say in every content and information I put out, let's grow. Let's rebuild your family.
Yes, I love that. Now, on to something lighter. How do you, as a father, a husband, a business owner, how do you find time for yourself? And what do you do as far as self care and time management for your business and for yourself?
Well, this is something I really, and I'll make this very, very short. I wasn't good at first. I wasn't good with it because I was doing 80% business or 90% business and 10% family. But I had to, again, I had to change. So what I do now in my phone, right, handy dandy iPhone, I make time. I
Mhm.
make time on my phone. So I say babe time, son time, and then I do family time. Family time is on Friday. You do no work for those hour, 2 hours that is designated for your wife, or it's designated for your son, or it's designated for them. But with them having time and him having time, her having time, I need my own time. I need my own time. So I do some reading.
Yeah.
Not so, I have quite a bit of books, but I do a lot of reading. But I talk to friends on the phone. I hang out. I go on my dates, but I also hang out with some of my friends. I might get back into basketball. I'm actually about to get a PS4 or whatever game console because I love that. That's my self care. And sometimes I put on soaking music. Yes, I do. As a grown man, I put on soaking music. I pray. I meditate. I look at funny movies. Cause don't get it wrong. Don't get let the attire fool you. I'm crazy. I like to have fun because you can't live this life and do business and have a family and be boring. You got to enjoy yourself. But I don't want to work so hard that I miss my wife. And I'm not saying miss her physically, like miss her. We're in two different places. I don't want to keep doing my business and miss my son. I have to be able to make that time, and it's their designated time. But I have to have designated time. So there are times like on Sundays, I do work, but I cut myself off because I'm like, I got to enjoy myself. I don't want to be so successful.
Oh,
Me be successful. Oh, it's time.
no, drop that gem.
Oh, it's time.
Oh my God, drop that mean drop that gem.
I don't want to be so successful in my business and my family suffering.
Hmm.
Because how can I help your family if they hate me? If my son don't like me and my wife don't like me, what sense does that make? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yes. So before you leave, just let us know where can we find you, right? And if there's any words you want to leave for any families out there.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you so much for the opportunity. You can go to Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok at DMP Speaks, just like it's on the screen now. DMP Speaks. But the only thing that's different is my Instagram. You just got to put I am what at I am DMP Speaks. Or you can email me at dmpspeaks@gmail.com. And then, if you are looking to get some help for your family, you can go and click on one of those links in my bio and you can get some more information. But one thing that I want to say is family is everything to me. I really love helping families. I love to see them grow, to rebuild. And you can do this, mom. You can do this, dad. Even children, you can do this. But we have to bring a more stronger family dynamic because that's what the world needs: stronger families.
Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Coach David, for taking the time with us tonight and talk about family restoration. Y'all make sure y'all go over there and follow him because he's doing morning inspirations every single morning. And y'all know we need it during these times. So let's go ahead and give David a round of applause. Thank you so much. And I'm going to post all of his websites after this right above this video. So y'all have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.